This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 288 Aussie Mac Zone. And really big day today with the Worldwide Developer Conference. So we're lucky enough to have Garth with us to talk all over.
Talk all over you? Yes, bound to talk right over top of you, Michael. Absolutely.
He's just going to talk right over top of everyone.
So there's Garth back. Excellent. Welcome home, sir.
How you guys been? It's been forever.
I know, it has.
We've missed you heaps, mate. We've missed you.
I'm sure you have.
And the other voice, of course, is Zarn.
Hello, and face, because I've got us all up at once because it's exciting and we're all here
Yes.
together and we don't normally do that anymore.
Yeah,
So-
that's great to be back.
It is.
Excellent.
I still haven't quite come to terms with this whole video thing at all, so I don't know.
So we're rocking on. Now, we had the Worldwide Developers Conference keynote this morning, 3 o'clock this morning, and
We're all up for it, were we?
I was.
I just misread the clock when it said 10 to 4. I thought it was 10 to 3, so I sort of wake up halfway through the emoji section
Okay.
and kind of fell back asleep, to be honest.
Yeah, so they had a nice little video to start where people were working through the night, which was highlighting the fun of being a programmer. Tim Cook took the stage and he said that there were more first-time people at the Worldwide Developers Conference than ever before. Apple makes the best products in the world. He gave us a refresh on Apple News, Apple Arcade, Apple Card, Apple TV Plus. They showed some more trailer for the Ron Moore For All Mankind preview, which is the space race that keeps going, where the Soviets were first on the moon, etc.
Oh, that looked fantastic, by the way, that trailer.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Me too.
And then they started with tvOS, of all things.
Yes.
Yeah,
Get the small stuff out of the way first.
So we've got a new home screen coming. We'll have multi-user support,
Yep.
so that we won't get the kids up next or suggested viewing, and they won't get ours. So we can go back to watching all that porn.
Why are the kids in there?
So what sort of why are your kids watching porn, Mike?
Because his kids are now in their 20s.
Oh right. Okay, so no, that's probably the highlight of the tvOS update, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, multi-user.
Yeah, well, the multi-users are excellent. You know, it shows that they're ready to, come forward, and stand up next to Netflix. And, in this country, we've got Stan. We've also now got, Amazon, the Prime Video.
Prime. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do they do multi-user?
Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, because I pay no attention to it. So, and one of the interesting one was lyrics for your favourite song in sync on the TV.
I know, that was right.
On your iPhone. That was pretty cool.
Karaoke.
Spot the differences between what you believe the words were and what the words actually were. That's the
And they're obviously, even though we haven't seen it all yet, they're counting on that being a very big gaming box with their Apple Arcade, because they've got the Xbox One S
and
controller and the PlayStation DualShock 4 controller support.
That's right. So that's massive. So they're
Really?
it is. It's huge.
Okay. I guess that will mean there are controllers in the house that will work on the Apple TV now.
As well, yes. That's another point. Yeah.
Not just
I don't know. Apple have been trying to get developers to, develop for that platform since it came out, and you see very little uptake really. So I hope this does make a difference. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
Well, it should make a massive difference, because I can now use my Xbox controller or my PlayStation controller to play these games. And I've looked at a lot of these games. I've watched almost all the trailers that are available on the games, and some of them look amazing. Some of them are more kid-like for me, but then there is ones that are for, the sort of game I play as well. So yeah. I think being able to use the controller to play them instead of having to use the remote or then go and buy another controller has made it so available for everybody that it has to work.
Yeah, and one of the podcasts I was listening to during the week prior to this was talking about there is a controller available already.
Yes.
But it's not in the same quality as the Xbox or the PlayStation ones, apparently.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
It doesn't work anywhere near as well.
Yeah.
But it's also, the games have got to write for it too, don't they?
Well, that's it. And well...
Not really.
No, because I think a lot of them are already supporting it.
Yeah.
The thing to me is that it's... Anyone who's got an Xbox or a PlayStation is probably going to use that device before using Apple TV. So it's about that secondary TV where that Apple TV happens to be mum and dad are watching the TV downstairs or whatever,
Yeah.
And kids can still go, you know what, they might have the good TV with the Xbox, but I can still go and play my game here.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And then we got undersea screensavers from the BBC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really? This is part of the news, the undersea screensavers. Reality is, I don't know how much time my children sit in front of those screensavers. It's incredible. You'll pause the show for someone to go to the toilet, and everyone will get back and we're just sitting there watching the screensavers. So it is a huge thing.
I've got a screensaver that we used a little bit over winter, as it's coming into winter, I should say, and that's just the fire burning.
So I could watch that for hours.
Very hot. It is very hot behaviour.
So we have more personal and more entertaining than ever is our Apple TV.
Yep.
Then we went on to WatchOS.
Well, there's a lot more to do with TV than just that. Like, we can't just be like, oh, now over to WatchOS. There was so much more.
The thing is, there was so much. It's like,
Yeah, they packed a heap in.
There's so much stuff here. We're going to be here until midnight. I've got to go to work tomorrow morning. So we need to plow on through to
the TV shows alone. Like they were talking about the TV shows, and they showed the Soviets. What was that show called, Michael?
Yeah, that was For All Mankind.
Yeah, For All Mankind. Then they're talking about the interaction, and so much like Netflix and that, where they do offer now, individual playlists and stuff like that.
Yep.
But what I liked about it is the setup. There was individual playlists, but they were all next to each other. So you go, all right, I'm going to go here, or I'm going to go there, or whatever, and then it brings your playlist up. But unlike Netflix and things like that, Apple will say, okay, here you go. How about trying this, and something new that we've done and you might like. Like there was that aspect of it as well. Like it was awesome. It looked so great, and it was so well presented.
Yep.
And I think sometimes Netflix can be really lacking. Same with Stan. Stan's a bit better, but with the hassles you have loading and everything like that with Netflix, especially of late, which wasn't their fault. I understand it was Optus's fault, because it also happened to Prime at the same time. But still. Anyway,
all right.
If you want to go on to watch, that's fine.
We can keep going. There's plenty to talk about.
Yep, go.
Now, WatchOS, we have another leap forward. Introduced Kevin Lynch. So simple. We've got some new watch faces, but a taptic chime on the hour. So you had birds.
The simplest thing that I'm so glad is there. Like, really, please, that is so good.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
But that'll be 10 minutes after the other taptic message to tell you to stand up. Because
I know you should actually know exactly when. Yeah, exactly right. As long as you've got your stand reminder on.
Yep.
And you're sitting on your ass, then you don't need this.
Yeah, that's right. Now we've got new apps. You've got a new audiobooks app.
Yep.
We can do voice memos.
Yep.
Calculator with tips and bill splitting just by rolling it up and down. If there's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, it just divides the bill really easily for you. No iPhone needed for streaming apps, which was interesting.
Yes.
As long as you're using the new APIs. Yeah, so
I think that's excellent. So, you've got so you can go for a jog and you don't need your iPhone. You can just take your watch, stream your music, stream your book, whatever you want.
Yeah. So previously you've had to either have the content synced to your watch or be Apple Music, because Apple Music could always had access to that direct stream.
Yeah, but you had to have a iPhone app to actually get an app onto the watch.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is the main point, right? Having the App Store, which I don't think you've mentioned so far. Like
not yet.
Not yet. Keep it down.
The App Store actually on the device.
Yes.
Which is huge.
It is, but is it going to make a huge difference to adoption when you've had a lot of companies who took up watch apps, who created watch apps, and quite a number of them have pulled back. I mean, it's fantastic, and it's the first step towards Apple being able to sell an Apple Watch, to a user that doesn't already have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Now, how many people there are in that category, I don't know. But yeah, it does get around another one of those sort of janky things where, I wanted to get an app on my watch, so I downloaded this thing that doesn't do anything on my phone so that it could sync and widget to my watch. It was all very odd.
Yes. Yeah.
But I still think for most people, it's going to be an easier place to actually look for an app on your phone where you've got a proper full-size keyboard, where you can actually interact with so it'll be really interesting to see how the UI of that Apple Watch app, Apple Watch App Store is set up when you have such limited input gestures.
I hate to think having 500,000 apps on the watch available for the watch, how we're going to go through that.
Well, it'd be fantastic if that was the problem we had, but at the moment it's there's dust and crickets when you go in the App Store.
I think the great thing is, and I understand we can, but it's the music and the audio book and that stuff at the moment that they said that's the
streaming apps,
streaming apps, and that's there will be more, and this our spring, their fall. I think it was. And so, and you're right. There has been, other things like that. But I think with Apple, when they do these things, they do it better. And they put a lot of backbone into it. Like, with, the WWDC, they put their all into it. They're here to show us this is what we're developing. Where with the other, watches that have done it and things like that, they're not, they're advertising. They're not throwing it in your face. They're not, bringing the energy that Apple has, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Now you got with WatchOS 6, we got activity trends, for example, where you can compare the last 90 days to the last 360 days to give you an idea of how much you're improving.
Yep.
Another good one was the noise levels app. So if there's a lot of noise right where you are, it warns you.
Yep.
And then also
the cycle app,
the cycle tracking for the ladies
in the
health app. Yep. So all of that was good, and it's all going forward, isn't it? That's the best part.
I paused that and rewound that part and showed Kellyanne that app, and she said there is other apps out there like that.
Yeah.
Already.
Yep.
But they're not. They don't seem to be as friendly, and is especially when it's right there on your wrist, and it takes the data of your other health issues as well.
Yeah.
And does that, which is fantastic.
But the biggest thing about the other ones, because again, one of the podcasts during the week, one of the girls was saying they don't know what happens to the data because You know, they might start if something changed in your cycle tracking, they might start getting mail or Facebook alerts about,
Yep.
you know, kids' toys or something. You know what I mean? That's whereas we know Apple's not going to do anything with the data unless unless you say it's okay.
That's right.
Because they've got to pay for the other ones. Yeah, it's all got to be paid for. The back end services have got to be paid for somehow. So what are they doing with the information, basically?
Exactly.
You know, I didn't think we'd talk about the cycle app for this long. The first thing that came to mind was, is the next watch going to have a thermometer in it? Because they're talking there about it not only tracking, like, obviously we can do the whole thing just on time, right?
Yeah.
But most fertile time of the month as well. So overall changes in body temperature is a good predictor of that as well.
That's right.
So I'm just thinking, does this mean the next watch will have a built-in thermometer? So you'll get a, constant. It's just another very simple health.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question, Garth. If they did that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It sort of surprised me that actually, you know what? It doesn't already have a thermometer. It's such a simple metric that could be included. So
because if it's tracking your heart rate, everything like that, you think it would already be there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The things they're trying to add to the watch in terms of gaining health data, and there's no freaking thermometer. Well, there you go. That's my prediction.
That's a good point. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
We'll have
Hopefully they take note.
Now, there'll be a new summary view for your health data, which is good. And then they introduced Kaylee Allen. She came on and showed off new watch faces, showing off the new apps and showing off the new app store. Then we went back to Kevin for the new watch bands.
Hands up, who liked the solar face?
We already had there was a revamp of the solar face? I didn't. Yeah. This is still in the first 50 minutes where I was with the fairies.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah, I really liked that face. I really did. I thought it was really cool. It looked almost like, one of the old Seikos or something like that. You had the little clock down the side and then the other stuff going on behind it. Yeah.
There's quite a few different layouts now for the, with the
complications.
Thank you. I was going to say confiscation. Complications down the side, but with a circular watch face on up the top, and really.
Yeah.
To me, since we got those new ones last time round, it's just about how many complications can I have? I want all of the complications. Give me more complications. I love more complications. It's just. It's launching
life
an app.
Is just full of complications.
I know there is way too many complications in life. So if we can put more of them on the watch, we might just pull them out.
That's
of
right. We have less in our head.
Exactly.
Now we started talking about iOS now with 97% satisfaction, adoption rate higher than any other, whereas Android only have a 10% adoption rate, and part of that is because Google can't push out the updates because the phone companies won't allow them, I believe. But
well, it's a manufacturer and phone. That's the thing. It's both the manufacturer and in many cases the phone company themselves have to approve the update. So
So we hand over to Craig Federighi.
G'day, lazy gunner. How you doing, mate?
Hands over to we made unlocking with Face ID 30% faster. It's already quick, but new apps will be 50% smaller and updates will be 60% smaller, and the app should launch 2 times faster. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Then we had a video, and then we iOS now lives in the dark, showing off dark mode for iOS, shows off Apple's apps in dark mode, and we've got the new swipe keyboard to speed it up, speed up the entry. Everybody's been waiting for that one.
The dark mode was awesome.
Yeah, I know, but
how awesome is it? No, look, from someone who really doesn't care, I don't understand the fascination. I get the whole thing that
Garth's
I guess,
always in dark mode.
I'm exactly right. It's a bright ass light that I'm having to shine in my face for you like now. I get the whole thing that 10 o'clock at night you're trying to look at your phone.
Yeah.
And it's suddenly this glaring white thing. I guess that's the beginning and end, or is there more to it than that?
Well, it means I've got to recreate my whole website, because it's not just as simple of putting it into dark mode will make my website into a dark mode website.
So not only do we have to be mobile and your screen size responsive, we now have to be light and dark mode responsive with our website.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And not only that, like I've been reading about that, you put a little button on your website that says press here if you want dark mode, or press here if you want light mode, and then it's got to write a little JavaScript so it remembers that. So that when you change to the next page, it already knows to go to the dark side.
Okay.
And next time you reload that page, it goes to the dark side. So all these little things.
One of these data companies is going to come up with some information about how this city is more racist than that city because a higher percentage of them keep pressing dark mode.
They like the dark.
Light mode or something,
Yeah. So, but the swipe keyboard, that looks really cool.
Yeah, it does.
And again, phone music will have sync lyrics on the phone. So while you're looking at it there, that will be great. Obviously, they want me to use the music app and pay for this music service to get the lyrics. But so
I've got the music service. I pay for it. So that'll be great. It'll be excellent to finally be able to understand Shane McGowan from the Pogue Mahones for all these years.
I don't know who that is, but
The
I
Pogues-
completely understand why it'd be hard to understand.
The Pogues are an Irish folk punk sort of stuff, and Shane's got no front teeth and speaks with a really thick Irish accent.
Okay.
So.
And then we've got Safari will be able to have per website settings. And then with our apps, there's better notes, better shared folders, better reminders. We'll be able to associate to-dos with the top level of a reminder. We can have plain English entry. At Maps, we have a big detail change, US this year and others next year, which is where...
Street View.
Yeah, you're not when they go over when you're going over the top, you can see outlines of like rectangles for buildings, etc., or there might be a park or a big opening that you're not aware of in that view. So that was a pretty big change. Then they introduced Meg Frost, and she shows off some new features. New 3D view and long press to move down the street, which was pretty cool. You know how in
that was
Google
excellent.
Maps, Google Maps, you tap an arrow and it takes you down the street. Then you tap another arrow and it takes you down the street. This one you just long press and it'll just move you down the street. It's pretty awesome.
Like you're in a car, just drives you up the road.
Yeah. So back to Craig Figueredo. Now he's pushing privacy, engineered into everything.
Yes.
Building location tracking to ask each time, and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning tracking off. So apps. So if you're walking down the street and your Wi-Fi sends a signal to that as you walk past Starbucks, for example, it says, this person's in this area, and if they get that enough and they know other information about you, they can tell you where you're walking. So you're not going to be able to do that anymore. But I think one of the biggest one is this social account login.
See, I love this.
This is keep going, Michael.
One of the biggest things today, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Social account login. So when apps ask you to use Facebook or Google to log into an app, you can now choose, say, all right, I want to use Apple
login.
Yeah, and it creates a random address that makes up an email address. You log in with that. It forwards that email address, any email sent to that address, to your Apple email address, and each app will have a different random address, and it'll work across all platforms and on the web. So
So I heard this and thought, that is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love it. Thank goodness they've come into this space. Then thought to myself, hang on. If I'm a developer, why the hell would I choose that when a significant value I get from having this service is that I get to track my users? Why would I implement it? Then I've heard a rumor on 9 to 5 that Apple are going to make this compulsory for apps that include third-party login. So if they already include Twitter, Facebook as login options, they're going to make it compulsory, mandatory that they also include the Apple login.
Yeah.
Which sort of goes, thank God it will be adopted because that'll have to be.
Yeah.
But also, there's Apple going to the old, thou shalt do this.
Or
which I'm sure is going to have a bit of.
Are those apps not going to be on, by their own choice? Are they not going to be on the app? If they want to be in the
they will possibly fall back to an email login. So you have to set up your own email account if they, for whatever reason. But given the choice of having the choice, yeah, that is actually what I wanted to say. Given the choice of having the choice between Facebook and Twitter and Apple, or just an email login, they're going to choose the one where people will still probably often pick Facebook or Twitter, where they're going to be able to get additional, personal user data from.
Yeah. But why? Why would you
Because how many people do you know that Facebook is the internet?
A couple, but yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much I beat my head against the wall.
I know, correct.
And we're using Facebook tonight, I admit.
Yep, here we are, right here, streaming live now.
Hello.
They provide a fantastic service, and they suck in all your data for the joy of it.
Yes.
They want to know what scotch you're drinking right now.
It's actually not, but anyway. Now that you've brought it up, it is cinnamon fireball whiskey.
What is
A
it?
recent discovery, cinnamon fireball whiskey.
Oh my God! So.
Just discovered it. Absolutely amazing.
Isn't it great? I love Fireball. I don't drink anymore, but I used to, and I used to love Fireball. And what I'd do is I'd buy some Bilpin Pink Lady apple cider.
Of course you did.
Yep. 2 shots of Fireball to a bottle of the, 330ml bottle of the cider and on the ice, and it tastes like an apple pie.
It would.
It was fantastic.
At least you brought it back to Apple. Well done.
Next one was HomeKit with security cameras and HomeKit secure video, so that the video.
This is so cool. Keep going.
Yes, yeah. Again, there's been lots of things where people's doorbells or people's video cameras aren't being looked after correctly. Their data's not being. So now we'll be able to store 10 days of clips stored for free at Apple, which will be encoded so that Apple can't read it. So that's 10 days of clips for free. That's pretty good. The only time you have a hassle with that, if you have an issue, is if you go on holidays for a couple of weeks. But I'm never that lucky. Yeah. So
I was going to say, who goes on holidays for a couple of weeks?
So yeah, there's a few cameras coming out with that, and I thought this was interesting that now we're going to have HomeKit enabled routers.
Yes.
So
I missed this. Tell me more.
Yeah, so we've got HomeKit enabled routers. So again, for ease of setup, etc., from Linksys, Eero, and Spectrum. So yeah, that makes things more secure, obviously, so that we can get in and look at our HomeKit equipment easier without having to go through all the opening ports, and which effectively makes it less secure if it's encrypted using the HomeKit system. We'll be able to get in and look at our information, because I get a buzz on my wrist now if someone opens the garage door in my house, the one from the garage to the house. I get a buzz, and then I can go in and look at my cameras already. But it takes a bit of setting up to do that, of course.
Yeah.
He's always busting me coming in trying to steal his tools.
And then we've got Messages app. So Messages is important because this is one of the biggest apps, uses of app.
Yeah.
So we can share our name, our photo, an emoji when we message. Instead of just having that black face looking at you, you can have a proper photo or your emoji.
Are we allowed to say that?
Hang on. Okay, so sorry, blindy question here.
Yeah.
So at the moment, if you haven't got a picture, you just get some sort of black silhouette thing, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's all there is. New Memoji tools for makeup, piercings, tech, earrings, hair, hats, glasses,
everything.
Even AirPods. You can have AirPods in your Memoji.
Awesome.
It was fantastic. Like the clip they did, they used these two cartoon characters. I don't know if they're real or not.
Two Memoji characters.
Two Memoji characters. Thank you. It was fantastic. They were hilarious. The makeup, the tutorial on the hat and the glasses and the piercings and everything. Like, it was just hilarious. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Now this might be a thing I need to get my 11-year-old in on, creating me a nice Memo. Is it Memoji?
Yeah, that's right. Memoji, yeah.
Memoji, yeah.
And then
you'll probably end up with a bull ring.
I probably should send to a few people to get some feedback. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Get a third or fourth opinion on them.
Yeah.
Could be getting even.
Why is your son put? Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Jackie, and hello, Kellyanne. Thanks for watching.
Excellent. New Memoji stickers will be available for iPhones with the A9 chip or later, which I can't tell you off the top of my head which one that is, but
that's the 7.
The 7
and the iPod Touch. So they've gone back to the iPod, the updated iPod Touch now.
Yeah,
I believe the A9, which is interesting in that they're extending that feature to devices that previously didn't have it. Because initially with Memoji, you needed to have a Face ID.
Yeah.
Whereas now that's gone back to earlier devices.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Again, moving everything forward for them,
and backwards at the same time.
Making use of the older devices because people are keeping them longer.
Yeah.
If they want to keep you in the environment, keep giving you stuff. Now, iOS camera, we've got lots of portrait lighting choices now. With the Photos app
Michael
for photo editing.
Blackface.
Photo editing. We've got new effects. Also, you can do effects in the video now. And you can rotate a video now as well, all in photo editing. We've got more filters and, again, more effects. And a new way to browse, because when you look at your photos for a year, you might have 1,000 photos, but what it does now, when you're browsing, it removes the duplicates, and you can also get a diary of your life. So you can say, all right, I want this day or this month or this year, and you can be...
Now, can I ask a question?
Or your daughter or your son or whatever. You can ask a question.
Doesn't it already do that?
Whether either of us can answer it is another question.
Yes.
Doesn't it already do that?
No, but it doesn't get rid of the
think this takes it a bit further. So currently you've got...
Because mine by month, and I can then go in and have a look at what happened on the days of that month and everything.
And it'll
like that.
pull up significant events too.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
and it plays the videos. Yeah.
500. There's a heap of photos from New Zealand. Yeah. That must have been a thing for you, and show you those or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
But this sort of takes away the clutter, I think.
Okay.
So it takes away those screenshots. And this is what I want: a button that says "delete all screenshots that you took accidentally when you were trying to unlock your freaking phone."
Yes,
right.
yes, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I've got these screenshots. I love that you can disable that on the watch, but you cannot disable it on the phone.
Or photos.
But it'll hide all of that kind of stuff. It'll hide, 8 of the 9 photos that you took of that one group of people when you were trying to get the right photo.
Yeah.
So that.
Or the 35 pictures of your 4-year-old's toe.
That's right. And then we've got we've got the new, as I said, the new days tab, a new months tab, and it works. And we've got it's context aware too. So if you're in a particular area, so it's going to show you the photos for, say, Bathurst. It knows that I was in Bathurst, and it's going to take me back and show me this year at Bathurst, last year at Bathurst, the year before at Bathurst.
So if I'm at work and I'm trying to find a photo that I took at work of someone getting an award or something, while I'm at work, it'll show me. It's more likely to show me photos that were taken at work.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So also there was something about when we were talking about security, and those things. There was something about having more than one iCloud, so you could have a personal email cloud and a business cloud.
So support within the system to have multiple iCloud accounts for.
Yes.
Because at the moment you can add multiple iCloud accounts, but only one of them can be the main contact/reminder provider. There's a whole batch of services that only one iCloud account can be the provider for.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's what that was about. Yeah, I didn't really.
Yeah.
And then we had just some quick discussions about AirPods. The AirPods app delivers message or third-party messaging app is using Siri Kit, and big is the audio sharing. And it didn't say it had to be on next year's phone.
Yeah.
No.
So, when Karen and I are in the car together. So.
Yeah. And just to sort of clarify that for people, 2 sets of AirPods hooked up to the one phone.
Yeah.
Or there's other parts of it too, but that is so cool. So many people are going to find that useful.
Yep.
And the demo with responding to a text message straight away. So having Siri automatically read it out to you and it being ready to accept a response immediately so that you don't have to.
Yes.
No. Yeah. Both look really cool.
Yes.
Sharing, being able to have 2 sets of, AirPods on one phone is every teenage boy's dream, where he can share the song that he wants to show his girlfriend. I think that's fantastic. It's the new mixtape.
Without infecting her ear with all your...
I know, with all your gunk.
Oh, I know. You always see people do that, don't you? Hey, you have one AirPod, I'll have the other.
Yeah.
You can play that game if you like. I might have to sit back a little while.
Oh, you poor old thing.
I know.
Out of the HomePod, we get handoff. So you just put your phone, you walk in the door, put your phone close to the HomePod, and whatever you're listening to, the song or the
podcast,
audiobook or podcast, it'll just hand it off onto your speaker and you keep going. And also it does the same thing when you're leaving. You just put it there. Obviously it goes, oh yeah, they must be going away because they've moved it closer. Yep. Here we go. And we're going to have live radio, which is 100,000 stations from around the world.
100,000 stations.
I can't believe this didn't exist already. I didn't realize it wasn't.
I know. It's fantastic.
And
you got digital radio on your phone.
So I can talk to a HomePod, and then my wife can talk to a HomePod and get different results.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love that voice recognition on the HomePod.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so cool.
Next we had CarPlay, which is 75% globally cars now have got the ability to have CarPlay. There's a new dashboard layout for the next version of CarPlay, and Siri works with more third-party apps. So Waze or I don't use it, but yeah, Waze is one app that I would use, and it's doing really good on. You just say the address you want to go to, and it goes and finds it.
Wow.
For example, currently, so yeah, so definitely lots of voice recognition's improved a heaps, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Siri, so the app will
just her voice.
Suggested automations, entire software generated voice, which is the neural text to speech, neural TTS.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a comparison between the way they used to do it was have somebody's just little pieces of, each word that someone's read out of a dictionary. And they did the same thing where it's entirely a software generated voice, and how much smoother it is, and You know,
It was
They picked
fantastic.
a very good sentence to show
Yeah.
off.
yes,
They did. They picked a fantastic sentence.
No, any time that they make that text to speech sound better, it's a good thing in my book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. And just the difference between 12 and 13, like, was amazing.
yeah,
11 to 12 is good enough
Yeah.
for some, except for all of the. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
yeah. So
I want to start that rant.
now, then they said the iOS 13 story continues with iPad. And
OS. iPad OS.
iPad OS, yeah. So now we can pin widgets to the home screen.
Yep.
Slide over, drag from bottom of slip over to see other apps. Split view, so we've got multi-window views and demos, 2 sets of notes, so you can have 2 rows of notes side by side, for example.
When they did the demo of that and they brought them, where he was playing with the other widgets and brings up messages, so
Yep.
he can look and answer his message at the same time as he's doing something else on the pad. It was amazing. I really thought that was great.
They're called Windows.
Windows.
Yeah.
It's something real computers have had for a long time, and it's just
Yes.
they've tried to do this for so long, and maybe they're finally getting there.
Yes.
Finding the appropriate way to actually.
Well, it's been around forever. Like, because remember with like 9 MSN and that's what was it was the MSN app. Oh, I remember those days.
Now we've got app expose as well now. We've got column view.
Yep.
Now, a couple of big ones. iCloud Drive folder sharing. That's huge. That's huge. And SMB file sharing as well. So I can set up an SMB file share directly to my network attached storage at home, and doesn't matter where I am, I'll be able to have access to it. And another really big one, we can now plug in a thumb drive into our iPad.
Oh wow!
So
Yes.
I heard a lot of these things were coming, right? The rumors were all there. That,
Yes.
Rambo had told us a lot about a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
So I was really happy to see it all. There's also this element of, oh my God, this is iPad OS. I'm not actually getting this on the iPhone.
That's right.
So it'll be interesting to see, like, all of those features were put into the iPad OS section.
Yeah.
But surely some of them have to be cross-platform. Where, I mean, sticking a USB drive, that's going to be iPad only, right? But some of the file app improvements have to go across the entire iOS
You would think
stack,
so, yes.
you would hope.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see as time goes on exactly what is included.
Yeah.
Like iCloud folder sharing, for example. If you've shared a folder through iCloud, then you've shared a folder through iCloud, and surely it won't matter which platform you access that through. But there were some really important and long overdue changes and improvements there.
So big year for Files app and Safari. Another one was interesting because they said you can import directly from a camera to Lightroom. They didn't say you can import directly from a camera into Photos.
No, well, and the point is directly into the Files app as opposed to into your camera roll and so forth. Yeah.
Now, the mobile web, the iPad is now desktop class browsing. So as far as websites I should be able to get to ordinary websites when I'm using a big iPad, for example, which is big. The big iPad's bigger than an 11-inch MacBook. But
that's what exactly right.
And where it affects me is if I'm trying to use my iPad to access information on Apple's service site. There's a site called GSX
Global Service
for Apple, and it's not iPad friendly in any way, shape, or form. It'll show up, but text will be overlapping each other. Like a button overlap each other, and even when you hold down the reload button for a length of time and it says select desktop site, won't do it.
Okay.
Right. So this is
And this is
the one-
GSX.
Yeah, this
Yes.
is Apple's own site.
The service, yeah.
So
Professionals. All right.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. There's also a download manager now in Safari. We've also got 30 new keyboard shortcuts, so that's something for us to learn.
Yeah.
And
I just hope you know me, I love keyboard shortcuts. Like whenever
Yeah.
we used to have a tips and tricks thing, that would be the thing I would bring, right? Some sort of so I just hope they mirror those that are on Safari already, at least.
yeah,
And when they say 30, they probably mean there's one for command option 1, one for command option 2, one for command option
yeah, that's true. Be able to install fonts now without having to go through the certificate process we do, and you'll be able to get them from the App Store. So that way they know they're secure as well. We've got multi-touch text editing. You can move the cursor around easier than ever. You got 3-finger copy and paste and 3-finger swipe to undo, so you don't have to shake the thing up and down anymore.
Hey, was it just me, or was there a bit of a demo fail on that?
In what way?
When the guy who came up to do that,
Yeah.
when I was listening to it live, I heard a few little hang on, sort of.
Yes.
There we
yes.
go.
He was,
Stumbling over it a little, yeah.
but maybe his hand was sweaty because it's his first time on stage.
Could
Like,
be.
Could be as simple as that. You just,
Or it could be that it's pre-beta software at this
yeah,
point.
that's right.
I actually didn't notice.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And then the Apple Pencil, it's down to 9 millisecond latency. And there's a new Pencil Kit API for developers to get in and start using. So you got, the way that the colors and that sort of stuff, and you can move the pencil area around where you got your colors and your type of pen and that sort of thing. And now we've got also this thing where you can just click on the keyboard and drag it, say, to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So the keyboard only takes half the size. So when you're actually holding it in your hand, you can use one hand to do the typing while you're holding it.
Yep.
That was interesting.
Fascinated Zarn and I, obviously.
You can just drag the pencil and you go straight up into markup. So as soon as you put it there on a picture, for example, you drag the pencil up, you're into markup, so you can start drawing circles around or doing colors.
Marking it up.
So then we handed back to Craig Figueroa, who handed back to Tim Cook. We love the Mac. Number 1 in customer satisfaction. And we're going to take the Mac further than it's ever been before. So they show a video of a new cheese grater Mac. So it's very cheese grater looking. It's got the big vents at the front and back. It's a stainless steel frame, stainless steel handles. The processor, you can it's an Intel Xeon up to 28 cores, 300 watts of power, massive big heatsink, and up to 1.2 terabytes of system memory. 1.2 terabytes system memory.
1.221 gigawatts.
Hang on. 1.5, wasn't it 1.5? Terabytes. Was it terabytes?
1.25 terabytes of system memory. I'd hate to think how much that's going to cost.
Yeah, it's a lot of RAM.
It's a lot of
All they
RAM.
want is your firstborn.
They can have
I'm going cheap.
her. They can have her.
No, they
That's
can't.
all they want. I mean,
So it's expansion. It's got PCI. It's got 8 slots. 4 are double wide, 3 are single. One's taken up with the I/O board. There's 2 10 gigabyte network ports, 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on the top. There's a thing called an MPX expansion module. You can have 2 Pro Vega 2 cards can be used at the same time. Another thing called Infinity Fabric Link.
Anybody have any idea what the hell that is?
I don't know.
Sounds very cool, though.
It
Doesn't
does.
it?
It does. I've got all three of us on screen at the moment, and Garth, you and I looked blank. It was fantastic.
I think the point is, right, this is a machine not for any of us.
That's right.
Not for any of our audience. This is a machine for... I heard one good quote where...
It's a fantastic professional machine.
This is not a machine that needs to find an audience. The audience for this machine created this machine.
That's right.
Yes,
You know,
very true.
The people who needed it said, this is what we need in your pro level machine.
Yeah.
You know, dropping 10,000, like the base configuration coming in at what, $5,000, $6,000 or something.
Yeah.
256 megabyte hard drive. Like, what the hell is that? You can get 5 times that in RAM if you wanted to. So nobody is going to buy the base level configuration at $5,000 or $6,000. But the people who are going to buy this are happy to spend $10,000 on a half-hour shoot on one morning.
Yes. Yeah.
And
you can take it with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a completely different, you know.
Has an option called an afterburner card, which is a hardware accelerator that'll do 6 billion pixels a second.
Why does it need a hardware accelerator?
It needs.
It's already gone.
I don't understand.
You can use 3 streams of 8K or 12 streams of 4K at the same time. It's got a 1.4 kilowatt power supply.
I know, that's just incredible. 1.5 kilowatt. That's as much as you can basically have on a domestic circuit.
That's basically it. Yep.
I've owned cars with less kilowatts than that.
Like, seriously, you cannot. Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
And it's got it shifts 300 cubic feet a minute cooling fan system.
Fuck.
Excuse me. No, but seriously, sorry, I'll let you finish.
3 fans and a blower, and you've got optional wheels to move it around the studio.
That's what I was going to say.
With the fans going,
Can
the studio on its own.
Can do the quarter mile in 3.2 seconds.
You come back from lunch after it's been doing some processing while you're away, and you go, "Has anyone seen my Mac?"
It's up against the far wall again. I keep telling you to chock the wheels, but you won't listen.
Yeah.
You know, in the episode, is it Get Smart, where the whole desk, he drives the desk? It just reminds me of that. Dun, 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 dun.
And then, so David Earl came on to do a demo of Logic and Final Cut. So within Logic, we can have, this is for you, Garth, our podcast extraordinaire.
I hate Logic, by the way. But
1,000 audio tracks at the same time.
Yes,
That's
or a Pro Tools session.
More than the current. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's excellent,
Loading
actually.
up a Pro Tools session with just, who was it talking? Somebody had been working on one of those latest Dragon movies. And they've had, like a whole bunch of computers recording 2 separate orchestras at the same time, along with a whole heap of other people.
Yeah.
And just couldn't, and then they've just gone, okay, throw all of those tracks straight into a single Pro Tools session, and it was like nothing in this machine. Yeah.
And then
this thing has a weird USB-A inside the case, a USB-A port inside the case, and I'm thinking that would be perfect for the those authorization dongles. So many bits of audio software, like various plugins that you'll buy, they all use this particular online authentication service, and you can have a physical hardware dongle to authenticate it. There's various bits of software like that, and then there's this USB.
Maybe that's what it's for.
Inside the bloody thing. It's ridiculous, and none of us are going to buy this thing. But they haven't left a stone unturned.
No.
In terms of the expandability, the future-proof. 1.4 kilowatts, did you say?
1.5, wasn't it?
1.4 kilowatt power supply.
Kilowatts power supply. That airflow, it's just so future-proof, which is completely a reaction to the last MacBook, the last Mac Pro,
Yeah,
where they
the temperature issue.
totally built themselves into a corner and couldn't do anything.
Yeah. And in Final Cut, you can have 3 8K ProRes RAW running at the same time.
That's insane.
That's the number of pixels.
I know.
That's why you need that hardware accelerator.
8K. 8K.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
can we even see that?
No, but this is the thing. So much stuff is getting recorded like that. I mean, it's being released at 2K or 4K or 1080 or whatever. But capture and the initial manipulation, it's like with audio. You record in WAV file and then you release an MP3 or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same thing with video. So if they can cut a render time or a process manipulation type thing from 5 hours down to 4.5 hours, or in this case 2 hours, it's you've just made a couple of $1,000s worth of labor.
Now they also introduced
that I understand
a new display.
OMG, keep going.
Yes, there's a couple of interesting things. 32-inch display, 20 million pixels, 6K display, 40% larger than a 27-inch display, 25% better contrast. You've got a matte display option, which is by etching the glass. HDR has never seen before, so we called it EDR, Extreme Dynamic Range. It'll do 1,000 nits of full brightness and 1,600 max for a short period of time.
Oh, I think it was longer than a short period of time. That's the main point. It would keep on doing it. Yeah.
And the power, the whole back of the display is cheese grater like the Mac Pro, so that it works as a heat sink to get heat away from these LEDs that are in there. So you can have this maximum brightness going, like you say, for a longer period of time. 1 million to 1 contrast ratio. MacBook Pros can have two displays set up, and the new Mac Pro can have 6 of the displays. You can have a Pro stand, which will also rotate into portrait mode, and it's the world's best Pro display. But the display itself was US $4,999.
Yeah.
The standalone was $999.
Yep.
And you can also
get finish. Come on, tell us about the matte finish.
No, I didn't get the price for that.
That was another $1,000. So if you want to put this sucker on a stand with the matte finish, you're looking at $7,000.
Yeah. And there is just on the Mac Pro, you can also get a rack version of the Mac Pro.
Wheels or it's 20 kilos or so, that Mac Pro.
Yeah, so you can set them up and put them in. They've got a rack version, so you can put them in the rack.
Okay, the monitor.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on. 20 kilos.
40. Sorry, slightly under 20 kilos, about 40 pounds, 39 point something pounds.
Okay.
So 17 kilos.
17 kilos, yeah. Still, that's a lot of computer.
That's a lot of kilos.
Yeah, it is. It's about as big as my 2-year-old.
Yeah. Be good if he came with wheels, wouldn't it? Oh. No, maybe not so much.
Be good if he come with an off switch.
Okay.
Continue.
The monitor.
Yep.
I have no problem with the monitor at 5K. Totally fine. You've got people out there buying $6,000, $7,000 ISO monitors, apparently.
Yes.
Reference monitors that this blows out of the water.
Yes.
Yeah, $20,000 ones that are
to a $43,000 Sony reference monitor. $43,000 for a monitor. This is not our kind of monitor, people, okay? We don't need to want this monitor.
That's right. This is not the monitor you're looking for.
This is not the monitor you're looking for. But if you are in one of those high-end production areas where, okay, previously we had a $43,000 monitor that we had 6 or 7 different professionals lining up time in the production schedule to actually spend some time finalizing their projects in front of this $43,000 monitor. We can now stick one on each of their desks, and have 10 grand to spare on 2 more Mac Pros.
That's right. Just like that.
Yeah.
It's just, once again, a matter of context, right? So I've got no problem with the monitor at 5K.
No.
If you like, whatever. Totally worth it for the person who it is worth it to, which is clearly not us.
Yes.
$1,000 for a freaking stand, though. Are you kidding me? Like, they're just taking the piss at that point.
Yeah, but even the audience went, "Oh,
Yeah.
You don't even get a wall mount. Like, if you want to get the rack that puts it on the wall, that's $140 or $240 or something.
$140, $149, I think that was, yeah.
Reasonable, totally reasonable. So if you just
that was
buy
for
the
a
monitor,
circular piece of metal with 4 screw holes.
okay,
Better than
relatively
$1,000 for a stand.
At what point are you just taking the piss? Like, as I said, I've got no
I
problem.
think
with the
it was
5K.
clear when they were taking the piss, man.
It's probably got. I'm guessing it's got a very, very, very heavy base. So
Very stable.
you know what I mean? Like,
For
Pretty heavy,
$1,000, I'm
alright.
telling you right now, it'd want to be freaking stable.
It would be stable. It would want to have bloody diamantes and freaking come with somebody to adjust it on a regular basis for me.
that's right.
Make coffee with it. Like,
It would
As I
have-
heard someone say, you could hire someone to come in and hold it for you for cheaper.
But if you're in that, if you're actually using that display for that purpose, you would
Yeah.
be adjusting probably testing the displays for color correction once a week anyway. You know,
Mhm.
like that. So,
I'm not sure how that makes the stand seem cheaper. I hear you making an argument. I just don't understand it.
you had to be there.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, but even the audience went, "Oh." They thought,
Well, why wouldn't you? It's $1,000
Everyone-
for a freaking stand.
like, you think I've got to buy the stand separate? Like,
everyone is
That's not a
thinking,
spare I get for when I go to the holiday home.
everyone's thinking, if I can just get the corner office, I can wall mount this bastard.
so yeah.
I've got an old Encyclopedia Britannica that's not doing anything. Set a few of those up.
Yeah. So Craig came on and introduced us to Catalina, which is our next Mac OS. Which
Once again, right? Here's my only
coast.
problem.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
I'm just
here we
gonna,
go.
like you said, I'm going to walk all over you. I'm going to step all over you.
Come
Another
on down.
freaking name that I have to think about how to spell. Like, if they just called it 1015, I would have been all over it. But Catalina, like, how do you spell Catalina? Is that a C or a K? I'm guessing it's a C.
See,
But
That's a C.
I know. I'm just but seriously, Mojave, High Sierra, like,
No, but see, Catalina means something to me because there's a racetrack up at Katoomba called Catalina.
righto.
An old racetrack. So that means something to me.
Good.
also,
As you
if
were.
you've seen Step Brothers, the Catalina wine mixer is also
There
one
was
of
a
the
reference about that there too, yes.
Yes, it reminds me of that. I love that, like that movie. It's hilarious. So yeah,
Yeah. So this is where Craig Figuerini, because he's like developers' hero,
Yeah.
and he had a great joke going in here where he said, all right, so back when we began with iTunes, which was just rip, mix and burn. Then we got podcasts, then we got video, then we got syncing, and people say, why can't you do more? So we're going to have iTunes we're going to have mail in iTunes. And why not
Reminders?
put calendar in iTunes, put reminders in there? We can even put the doc in iTunes.
Yep.
He said, and everyone was cracking up, so they were appreciating the humor of the situation. So now we're going back to Apple Music, Apple
So-
Podcasts, and Apple TV.
what about iTunes?
iTunes will still be there?
It's,
Yeah.
but there's, are they going to get rid of it as it's known now?
Eventually, yes.
Yes.
Eventually, they're going to need to support it for quite some time because there'll be older devices like iPods that will
Yeah.
only be sent through iTunes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think iTunes for both Mac and Windows will hang around for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll continue to support it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But they'll have also
Catalina moving forward.
Yes.
It'll be these 3 apps.
Yeah.
And they keep mentioning those 3 apps, but the real other component here is the fact that the syncing stuff is done directly through Finder.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that, there's this whole iCloud suite you can install on Windows to do iCloud-ish type stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm guessing that there'll be a tool in there to give you Explorer integration with your phone as well for the syncing type component.
So yeah, that was important. So Apple Music sidebar has the sync options. Apple Podcasts has got machine learning of the voice episodes, so you can actually. That's astounding that they're doing that.
So
for text in a podcast.
This is from what I can tell, this is server side, their side.
Yeah.
Starting with the most popular shows, sort of thing, doing text to speech on the entire
us
episode.
and the rest of them, yeah.
Us and the rest of them, exactly right. Yeah, for sure. But it is very cool. Initially, I thought it was being done device side, but so whatever podcast I happen to subscribe to with the podcast app, it would background the text to speech, speech to text for those. But no, it sounds like they're just sending it along as metadata.
Mm-hmm. And then with Apple TV, we movies, for example, that we've purchased in iTunes, we'll be able to use Apple TV to watch them.
So just be able to bring them all across basically to Apple TV.
Oh, they'll just be there, I think.
Yeah, excellent.
Watch them on your Mac as opposed to.
The only reason I say this is because I had questions asked during the week, and I couldn't answer until tonight, of what's going to happen to my movies and my TV series that I've bought through iTunes. Yeah. And people were legitimately worried that they were going to lose these TV series that they purchased.
Because
no, come on, Apple are not that stupid.
They're
People.
not.
Come on.
That's what I said.
But it was all this stupid clickbait from last Thursday where iTunes is going away. iTunes is going away.
Oh no, what will happen to my library?
Yeah, everybody was freaking out.
It's because all of this.
Everyone loves something to freak out about.
Poor reporting from different people.
Yeah.
Like Rene Ritchie on one of his Vector podcasts highlighted exactly, like word for word, what one of them was reading out, leaving out a whole paragraph from the original post.
Yeah.
So it was all to do with clickbait.
Yep.
It's crap. Yeah.
Yes.
And then we've got a new one, which is Sidecar. So that's so that we can use our iPad as a second display by cable or wirelessly. And we'll also be able to use our pencil on the iPad as input for your Mac.
That's really cool, by the way, the whole Sidecar thing.
Yeah.
Like, being able to use that as a monitor, or a second display, I should say, is fantastic.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. People love it.
They did a demonstration of voice control of Mac and iOS.
Yep.
Full control, where it was the guy doing the demo would say, show me the buttons, and then the screen would light up with different numbered boxes around every individual thing, and he'd say 13, and it just, that picture would then
Activate
become screen.
that button.
Yeah.
So for people with mobility issues or with, limited any kind of physical disability that means that using a mouse or something like that is difficult. This is fantastic.
It will be fantastic. And I have a few friends that are, less mobile, and I just think it's a fantastic thing. So.
Even somebody with a bit of RSI,
Yes, that's right.
Damn, I'm just lazy and I like it.
Yeah, I know. We need less reasons for leaving you in the couch, though.
Really full. You get real full control, and I thought it was like I've written here, stunning, really stunning. It was just Yeah. And then what they call now Find My, because you've got Find My phone, Find My iPad, Find My Mac, can find offline devices using other people's iDevices. So if I've left my phone, for example, at the office, and I'm going, oh, where the hell is it? And someone in the office walks past that also has an Apple phone. It's encrypted and anonymous, but it says, oh, there's Fred's phone.
Yeah. This, and I remember prior to WWDC, we heard rumors of them introducing a tracker-like or a tile-like physical device.
Yeah,
and you can see where they,
people thought about it. Yeah,
people thought, looking at the code, where
that's right. Yes,
where they got that idea. It's not that, but I hope that does come about.
Yeah,
but it's still pretty cool.
I think it's excellent, the fact that the phone can be offline. And you can get to it.
Yeah.
Because
I think
I have a history.
Or your Mac.
That's the point. It's the thing like your Mac and your iPad that doesn't usually have its own cellular connection.
Yeah.
That relies on a Wi-Fi connection. That this is really going to be valuable for.
Yeah. I'm notoriously bad for losing my phones. I lose them a lot.
And you're still allowed to have more.
I am only just. I'm walking a thin line here at the moment.
Yeah.
Especially after last weekend.
No, not again.
Michael literally handed me a phone after upgrading because I lost my big phone, my 6S Plus. So I've been using a 5S because everyone was like sucked in. You're going through too many phones.
You're right. Yeah.
And Michael gave me a 6, and I was like, oh, awesome, thank you very much, and dropped it.
You know that this new feature, right? It's going to help you find a lost one. It's not going to help you find it somewhere between your hand and the ground.
That's true.
You need a very fast, small child to do that.
Yes. And I lose it. Like, I've left my phone in lots of different places. Funnily enough, I've always gotten it back. Except for once, I didn't get it back. Someone pinched it. But other than that, the numerous other times, I've always gotten my phone back. People have been honest and very nice about it. So, yes.
And you'll be able to track them a lot better now too.
Yes. So it's good.
Yeah. Now, on the Mac side, units that have got the T2 chip in them will have an activation lock now. So that locks it like your phone. So if someone borrows it or you've left it behind somewhere, they'll never ever be able to use it.
Excellent.
Which is can currently override it on Macs at the moment, but if you've got a T2 chip, it'll have an activation lock. Never be able to use it.
Fantastic.
So apps, screen time will be across all devices now. So I can be using Apple News on my iPad, Apple News on my phone, and Apple News on my Mac, and it'll say, all right, your 5 minutes of keeping up with the news is done now. Yep, get back to work, you lazy bum.
Start being productive again.
Yeah. Then we had Project Catalyst, which used to be called, I've even forgotten what it was. Marzipan.
Yeah. How could you forget Marzipan? Come on, that's a memorable name.
Yeah, so Project Catalyst, which is iOS apps on Macs. It's available today for the developers, and it's when you've got the latest version of Xcode running, there's just a tick that says make this a Mac app as well. And the important thing is it does the basic. You've still got to go and make it look nice and all that sort of stuff, but it actually does all of that sort of basic type coding stuff for you.
I think from what I can tell and hearing various things, the most significant part, other than the fact that we're going to get a heck of a lot more apps on the Mac, it's going to rejuvenate that ecosystem. It also means that a developer who has spent significant time improving the iPad OS, as it is now, version of their app is going to get a lot more for free with the Mac version. So rather, we already had developers splitting time between the iPhone interface and the iPad interface. And then pushing it onto a Mac interface again just meant that you had, more of their time was being spent on trying to get all of these interfaces in line. Whereas now, if they're working on the iPad, they're going to be getting a lot more for free with the Mac version.
Yeah.
So I think for both iPad and Mac, this is a really good thing.
So there's a game called Asphalt 9 Legends. They got that running properly on the first day. Twitter will now be coming back to the Mac. Atlassian announced the Jira project was running in a few days. And they were wrapped because they say now we've got one code base and one team.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Basically, yeah.
What it is, yeah.
And these are people that,
And there's so many little developers, little solo developers who produce brilliant stuff, but they really don't have the ability to scale that across too many platforms.
Yeah.
So I think, everyone's a winner from this integration that they've been working on.
And now some developer software improvements. We've got Reality Kit, which has got photorealistic rendering, Reality Composer, a built-in AR content library. There's also iOS edit, test, and time on a device, people position, motion capture. Then they introduced two people who I didn't get their name for this one, from Minecraft demo in the real world. So there's Minecraft Earth. They started on a tabletop, and then they went onto the stage. And there was two of them playing the game at the same time with their iPads.
It looked awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's something I could definitely get behind.
Turn the real world into your world, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons I love Pokemon Go so much, is because you can do the AR where you're in real life, catching your Pokemon outside, everything like that. It's great fun. And so with this Minecraft and stuff like that, it'd be another great game to be able to play with the boys and you know, have a laugh. Yeah.
So Swift is now 5 years old. Swift programming language.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Yeah, 5 years old.
All right.
I won't say it's always been Apple for 5 years, because I think it was a bit of a project before then. But there's 450,000 apps built using Swift. There's a new framework called Swift UI. It did a demo of the Swift UI interface, user interface. It got big cheers. Swift is available for all platforms, including the watch now. And I think if you're making watch apps, I think they have to be in Swift, just off the top of my head. I thought something was mentioned there. Yeah.
Don't know if that would be right.
No.
It doesn't sound right, but it could be.
Yeah. Or maybe it's to do with the Swift ones that are going to be from the app.
If they're going to be local apps, maybe.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's a moving forward thing. If they're going to be a
if they're on the watch apps,
first person app, first person, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
That'll be it.
So we're getting close to the end now. So we hand it back to Tim. Today we moved all our software platforms forward. The public seeds will be available in July. The developer versions are available today. And if you want to have a look at the new Mac Pros, they were across the street. The intro and outro music was Boom by X Ambassadors. That was the name of the song, the intro and outro.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all about the details.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I've got some more information here.
How could there possibly be any more information?
I know. It does make a difference, but I've got 3 bits of information.
All right.
Firstly, what Macs run Mac OS Catalina.
Uh-huh.
Now, MacBook 2015 and later, MacBook Air 2012 and later,
Whew.
iMac 2012 and later, iMac Pro 2017 and later, Mac Pro 2013 and later, Mac Mini 2012 and later, MacBook Pro 2012 and later, but there were two versions of a Mac Pro released. One was the mid 2012 and one was the late 2012. So we haven't found out exactly which one they're talking about there, or it might be both. It
Might be both, may not. Yep.
iOS 13 currently will be running on the XS Max, XR, X, 8, 8 Plus, 7, 7 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, SE, and iPod Touch 7th generation. So the 5S, the 6, and the 6 Plus are gone, and as is the iPod Touch 6th generation.
The old iPod Touch, yeah.
I can't believe they did the SE and not the 6. I don't understand.
I think it's to do with the processor still.
Yeah, the SE. What's the SE?
It's a 5. It was the 5 with the 6 processor. It was the same size as a 5.
Yeah.
And it was just had the S6 running gear.
I don't know if it was an A8 or an A7 though.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
It may have been an A7, and that's why.
Yeah. I've got one at home.
I was slightly disappointed that the 6 was gone, because that's where I was going to put the developer beta.
Yeah. Apple has announced the Worldwide Developers 2019 Apple Design Award winners.
Okay.
So this is where Apple recognises the apps for iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS that reflect excellence in design and innovation. And this year's winners are, pardon me, so Ordia by Luju Ltd London, which is a one-finger action game that lets you jump, bounce, stick, and slide your way through a hazard-filled world.
What was it called again?
Ordia, Ordia.
Excellent, thank you.
There's one called an app called Flow, which is from Moleskine, which is Singapore, Australia, Canada, and the US. So I think maybe create several programmers around the world for creating drawings, illustration, notes, and more with easy-to-use, a customizable notebook app. The Guardians Between by the Voxel Agents, Australia. A storybook-style game with vibrant, unique puzzles and loads of accolades, including Mac Game of the Year in 2018.
Okay.
Asphalt 9 Legends, a hyper-realistic arcade-style racing game. Pixelmator Photo, desktop photo app. ELOH by Broken Rules, a rhythm-based, easygoing puzzle game with beautiful, vibrant graphics. Butterfly IQ, a companion app for Butterfly's network's low-cost, accessible ultrasound probe. So that's obviously a medical
ultrasound
device.
probe.
Yeah, medical.
Yeah, okay.
There's one called Thumper, a unique rhythm-based game with incredible graphics and an intense gaming experience, including real-time orientation switching and haptic feedback. Home Court by NEX, an AI-based basketball training companion. The app uses NEX Team's proprietary AI technology to track your workouts and shots and provide feedback and analysis. Now, I've
tell me you've been using this one.
I have seen people using this one, and it's unbelievable. Like, it's so cool.
It looks hard.
I knew somebody who used that.
So the winners of the Apple Design Awards each receive a 512 gig iPhone, set of AirPods, a 12.9-inch iPad Pro with pencil, 64 gig Apple TV 4K, a watch, a Series 4 watch, a top-of-the-line MacBook Pro, a fully loaded iMac Pro,
Bloody hell.
an Apple Design Award trophy, and winning apps will be highlighted in the App Store.
Crikey, that is worth winning, actually.
I know. That's it. I'm designing an app this year. Screw everybody else. Like.
It's a long way from designing an app to being in that list.
Yes.
Watch
Just
me.
saying.
Watch me.
I will, and I'll be cheering you along the whole way.
Apple judges its apps based on 3 criteria. Design, apps that feature a strong visual design, efficiency, ease of use, attention to detail, and internal coherence. Technology, Apple that are fast and responsive, take full advantage of Apple's latest devices and use the latest Apple technologies to do new and interesting things. In other words, we want you to sell more. Innovation, apps that
Push them in their
feature
purchases, please.
uniqueness, platform differentiation, and things that weren't possible in the past.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. So there are our winners, including one full-on Australian company.
Excellent.
Yoo-hoo for Australia again.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it.
Excellent.
All right, that's it. Thank God for that. Did we come in as was it shorter or longer than the actual event? That's how I always measure these places.
It is shorter. It has been shorter.
Just shorter, yes.
All right. Okay. I'll call that a win then.
It was the actual event was 2 hours and 22 minutes or something.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
We've been an hour 20.
Why would you bother with the real thing then, eh?
That's right. That's right.
Especially when you can hear our lovely voices.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's it. Thank you very much for being here again, Garth.
Yes, thank you, Garth.
Pleasure. Pleasure. I should do it more often.
Yes, we should.
Definitely before episode 300.
Definitely. Having
on
something
episode
special for that, so
I'll be here for
touch.
episode 300. Make sure you remind me.
Excellent.
You might even be here for that.
Oh, in Sydney.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
All right.
Sign me up.
So, yeah, thanks for being here, mate. Much appreciated.
Thanks,
We'll talk
Garth.
to you soon.
Good to see you.
Now that
guys.
we're on the same time frame again.
I know. I did say, yeah, once we get rid of the daylight saving, I'll be here more often, didn't I?
Yes.
That's cool.
Why did I just remind you of that?
I don't know.
I had
Before you go, though, Garth, I'd just like to say
Yes.
an apple a day keeps
Yeah?
the androids away.
It does. It does.
Thanks,
Haven't
everybody.
you?
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.